Hi everyone, and welcome to our COVID-19 update and the release of our Help Centre presented by Kevin and me, Natalie. As you can see, I have been working on class for some time and have only just joined the class team. And one of my first projects was to assist in releasing the new Help Centre. Before our Technical Services Manager, Kevin, presents the COVID-19 update, I'll be covering this. Just some housekeeping before we start. Feel free to ask questions throughout the course of the webinar. You can do this by clicking on the Q&A option on the bottom of your Zoom bar. Some of these questions will be selected to be answered live at the end of our presentation, and any questions that we don't select to answer live will be answered by our class team. So thanks team for doing that. After completion of this webinar, we will send you a copy of our questions and answers. And at this time, we will also give you a copy of our presentation slides. We will be publishing the recording on our class education page, and I'll be showing you later how to access this. So just while we've got some attendees still joining, why don't we raise a poll? So I'll just get this poll raised on your screen now. And when that appears, okay. So I just wanted you to answer what you currently and mainly use to access help on class. So do you use the help widget via the help icon? Go to the Help Centre online, log a support ticket via the widget, email support, call support, or refer to online training modules and webinars. I'll give everyone a couple of seconds to answer that. And while they're doing that, I just wanted to discuss a statistic that really stood out to me. Did you know that 73% of consumers want to solve their product or service issues on their own? And 90% of consumers now expect a brand or organization to offer a self-service customer portal. These percentages were given prior to the COVID-19, and I'm sure that this has now increased with our current situation. In these unprecedented times, with so many accountants working from home, it's now more important than ever to give your team the tools to self-help and to self-educate. So thank you everyone for answering that poll. I'm just going to raise the outcomes now. So we've got 34% are actually using the help widget and the help icon, which is great. And a lot of you are going to the Help Centre online. And you're using the widget too, which is great. So for those that are actually calling support and referring to training modules, I will show you and give you some key tips today on how to raise questions and get more help. So this is really important. So why the new Help Centre? Class works with thousands of accountants and firms across Australia, and we understand that you may have questions that arise beyond our normal hours of operation. We also felt that it would be useful to create a site that gives you access to real-time scenarios from basic to the most advanced topics. So because of this, our support and consulting team have streamlined their processes to be able to achieve a help centre that is aimed at providing you answers to many questions you may have by using a simple search tool. So what will I be going through quickly today? I'll be touching on a couple of scenarios within the application and the Help Centre to better your knowledge and give you some tips along the way. So what we'll do is we'll just log into class now. And if you have two screens, please feel free to click along with me just to get a feel for the use. So located on the top right hand of your screen is the help icon here. And this is where you'll now access a lot of your help. You can see here that there's a couple of different items here that you can select, and this has changed recently. The help using class item here will actually give you access to the widget that we were just discussing, and we'll be coming back to that because that's where we'll be learning today. The training and webinars gives you access to our training site, and this was on the help item before, but it didn't show you where the webinars were. So you can see here, if you click here, these are our modules, and if you just click on webinars, these are where all of our past webinars are. You can also see that this webinar will be registered here after completion. So another item is our guided walkthroughs. And these guided walkthroughs are actually tutorials that walk you through the steps to do specific tasks within class. We'll click on data feeds, for example, and you can see here that a guidance balloon will pop up and tell you what to do. It'll tell you step-by-step instructions. So what we're going to do is we're currently in business level, and what we're going to do is click into fund level. And this is where we'll access the help today. The other item is what's new and about class. So this what's new and about class, what's new actually gives you information about our software releases and what's changed in the application. And about class links you through to the website, which gives you up-to-date information about class. So we're going to get started by clicking on the help using class icon. So as you can see, the widget has now popped up and it's given me some top suggested articles. So these suggested articles are based on where I am in the application, so what fund I'm working on, and it will actually tell you what you can do from this screen. If you haven't found what you're looking for help, you can always type in your question, which I'm going to do now, and hit enter, and a range of other results will appear. If these results are still not what you're looking for, you can always log a support ticket from here. So you can see here, if you click on support and fill in this information, what it will actually do is it will link where you are on the application and what fund you're working on to be able to give the support team member more information to assist you. If this is the page that you're looking for, all you do is simply click on the link and you can start working on the step-by-steps. You can see here that it's telling me to navigate to fund level and I'm in a fund. So I can continue these steps. If this widget is a little bit too small, another tip is to click this little arrow on the top right to pop the screen out, and now you can see the Help Center and the article in the Help Center. So while we're in this article, I'll just touch on a couple of things. So you can see here that these are the headers and they're also listed here. So this will actually take you through to any of the headers within the article. And on the left-hand side, you can see there are other articles within the section. These articles could be relevant to the current situation that you're in, or if they're not, you can see what subjects based on these breadcrumbs up here, and you can see match transactions, transaction processing, and that we're in the user guide. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually click to the home screen of the whole Help Center, and we'll quickly run through the things here today. This is the main page for the Help Center, and what I would suggest that you do, another tip, is if you're in Google Chrome, click the little star at the top of your page and actually bookmark this page so that you can go in and look at things later on, or if you want to just have a feel for what information is in there, you can actually go through. Another thing I want to draw your attention to is the promoted articles section down here. So this will change from time to time depending on the time of year or what articles we want to promote to you that might be relevant to the current situation that we're in. The other thing we have here are 3 different categories. So these categories here we'll be going through today. So the getting started, it really does explain itself, but I'll just click through and just give you a little bit of insight. So the getting started here gives you a range of different articles. It actually gives you key concepts. So we've actually developed this for new users or new businesses joining class, but it is actually probably key for existing users to take a look because we didn't have this before. It links you to training modules if you haven't complete them based on specific areas. It teaches you teaches you how to access some really key articles and also gives you best practice processing tips. So back to the home page, now we're going to look at the user guide and the knowledge base. So the user guide is where you go to find answers to questions relating to functionality of the software and anything in the class application and the best way to process it. So this is a little bit different to the knowledge base, and that's why we have them separated. And the knowledge base is a massive collection of articles which help you process specific situations or situations that have specific scenarios. Something like, how do I amend this SMSF return? And we'll look into that a little bit deeper in a second. So let's get into the user guide. So this user guide has been completely rewritten by the team, and we've taken a different approach to the way that we educate you. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use investments and property as an example so that I can show you a little bit about what we've done here. So you can see when you enter property, there's a console page, and then there's it starts with the property setup page. With the property console page and the setup page, I'm just going to hold the control button down on my keyboard, and I'm going to click on these links so that they open in different tabs. You can see up here that they've now opened in separate tabs. If these are really relevant pages that you use a lot, you can also bookmark these. But what we'll do is I'm just going to go through the concepts now. So the property console page talks about business level processing and business level options, and you can see that by the navigation here. What you can also do is go to the what's next, and we can learn more about other consoles to actually help you utilize automation. What we'll do now is look at property setup, and I'll give you a little background around how we've written these pages. So the property setup page here actually takes you through step-by-step instructions on what to do for a setup. But we also include in the articles in this section every step that happens next, from property setup to purchase, to depreciation, to sale. So this will actually help you gauge where you are in the process of a specific investment and what you can do within it. You can also click the what's next, and we will take you through to the next stage. So it's similar to reading a book and learning from start to finish. And this is all within the user guide. So what we'll do now is we'll tell you the difference between user guide and knowledge base by showing you a couple of knowledge base articles. So I'm going to go back to the home page. And you can see here on the right hand side, we now have knowledge base, and I'm going to click in here. Again, I want to stress to you that if you do want to search anything, you can still search within the widget. You can search anywhere in the Help Center at any time. You don't necessarily need to be within user guide or knowledge base. This is just for the flow of today's session. So there are a number of different headings, but some of them are similar to the user guide pages. So the user guide, again, is functionality, and the knowledge base is scenarios and answers to frequently asked questions or anything that you may need help with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to type in a question. And once it's answered, you can see here, I've just clicked enter, that it's given me 193 knowledge base articles that have got similar search strings and some user guide articles. So the good thing about the knowledge base is that the team are constantly evolving the knowledge base. They're adding new articles every day based on scenarios and situations that all of our customers are having. So you're always getting up-to-date and relevant information. The other thing you can see is the age of the articles, and what we do suggest when you're clicking on an article, we'll tell you a little bit about the way that we've created those, but also if the article is quite relevant to the search that you've done, always select the voting button and let us know that you are happy with the search. The other thing that I just want to show you is that most of the knowledge base articles will start with an issue. Some will just give you a resolution. Others will give you a background or a cause, and they will actually tell you steps to actually resolve that. Sometimes they will link back to user guide articles for the step-by-step functionality. So this is the way that the knowledge base and the user guide speak to each other. So now that we've gone through the Help Center, another thing that I wanted to touch on quickly before Kevin starts is data feeds. So based on our analysis of all of the things that clients are searching today, data feeds were one of the top searches. So what I'm going to do within the fund that I'm in, I'm just going to go to the feeds console, and I'm going to have a look at a specific feed that I need some help with. So my transitions team have actually loaded the funds for me, which is great, thank you. And I'm just going to click on the Macquarie feed here, just to get a little bit of more information about what I'm going to do to be able to set this feed up. So because there's a BSB and account number listed in here, I can actually use the help on this automated tool. Before, the help on this automated tool used to actually pop up the specific page, but since we got the new widget and we're promoting articles, we're now able to give you more information in this section. I'm just going to click help on this automated tool, and you can see here the top suggestion is the Macquarie cache. We've also given you some other suggestions as well, and this could be relevant to that feed. If this is still not what you're looking for, you can type in a search again and a range of other articles will appear. Again, if you still need more help and you want the support team to assist you, please click the widget here and click on data feeds, because this will actually go to the data feeds team. Anything relating to a data feed question is where you would go to data feeds. So now that I've found what I'm looking for, I'm going to click on the article, and you can see again that there's a feature panel, but this is best viewed outside of the application, out of the widget, and I'll show you why. So you can see here that there's a feature summary which gives you exactly what the feed does for you, and you can easily click on the configuration authority process, be it advisor or account holder, depending on the feed, and what is not supported. Every single data feed page has been written similar to the way that this is written, which includes the configuration and authority process to help you get more information. The other page that I really want to show you is the data feed overview page, and this is one of my favorite pages. Again, this page is best viewed outside of the widget because of the amount of information it has. So you can see that this data feeds overview page has so much to offer. We give you information about all of our feeds, including foreign currencies and foreign markets, so you can click through there. We also give you some other articles that could be really relevant to your firm. And then you've also got a bird's eye view of every single feed that we have and their feature, from cash to platform and stockbroking. It's as simple as selecting the feed that you're looking at the page and seeing what the configuration, authority process, and accounts aren't supported are. So now that I've covered the data feeds, knowledge base, user guide, and the help center, this is bringing an end to what I'm presenting to you today. So thank you so much for giving me your time. And now I'm going to be introducing Kevin with the COVID update. Thank you so much, and I'll be coming back to you if you've got any questions to answer live.
Hi everyone, I'm just going to share my screens. Thanks, Natalie. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking your valuable time attending this webinar. I'll be focusing on the COVID-19 measures. It's a great pleasure to present this topic close to my heart, especially for many of the accounting and self-managed super fund administration practices dealing with two unprecedented crises, one being the health and the other one's financial, both for your own business as well as for your clients. So I hope this presentation will help out a little bit on this course. A brief introduction about myself. My name is Kevin Zhang. I'm the Technical Service Manager at CLAS. I have over 20 years industry experience, 11 years with CLAS. For anyone who has attended my webinar previously, my session tends to be quite technical and very hands-on. It's really aimed at the experienced CLAS users, self-managed super accountants, and administrators who have to do administration from beginning to finish. A quick disclaimer here, the information provided here is general in nature, should not be relied on as an advice. Some of the features and functionality may change and improve over time as we take into account clients' feedback and suggestions. Agenda for today, I'll be focusing on the implementation of super-related COVID-19 measures in CLAS. Measure number one is the 50% pension minimum reduction and how does that impact the pension review process. Then I will drill down the new condition release for members affected by COVID-19. The third part of my presentation will be focusing on how do you add a subsequent event note to notes to the financial statements. And then I will cover some other COVID-19 related measures that impact self-managed super fund. Finally, both Nelly and myself will be answering some live questions towards the end of this webinar. Pension reviews and 50% pension minimum reduction. So it's appropriate for me to launch the first poll questions. For any of your pension clients that have already reached the pension minimum for FY 2019 and 20, what were you likely to inform to do? 1, stop the pension drawdown and preserve the capital value of those pension accounts. 2, commute the amount over above the minimum and treat them as lump sum payments on or after 24th of March 2020. So that's the day the bill received the royal assent. 3, commute the amount over above the minimum as lump sum payments, even for those made before that day, as long as you can lodge your TBAR on time. 4th, do nothing. Your clients probably need the money. And then 5 is all of above, depends on client's situation. So I'll give everyone 5 seconds to answer this question. Thank you kindly for your answers. Let's see the results. Majority will be having all of above because the client situation may vary from case to case. That's good. Okay, now this table I put down basically illustrate the current existing minimum drawdown rate and the new rate for the FY 2020 and 21 financial year. Some people may ask why the government want to introduce these pension reductions. Well, this measure is really designed to assist pension account balances to recover from unrealized losses associated with the economic shock of coronavirus health crisis. It allows effectively retirees to reduce their drawdown, protect the capital value, and avoid forced sale of the assets in loss position to fund compulsory minimum drawdown. Similar measures has introduced previously during the GFC, specifically 2008 to 2011, when they had a 50% reduction, and 2011 to 13, they had a 25% reduction. Now, what CLAS has done on this measure? So on 2nd of April 2020, CLAS actually did a patch release to basically fix the new drawdown percentage by taking into account the 50% reduction. So for any pension accounts that pension review has not done previously, those minimum will be automatically recalculated to reflect the new percentage. We also published 2 articles on this measure. If you go the handouts, there's hyperlinks to each of those articles. One is about the rates, and the other one is how you actually do pension reviews in CLAS and to reflect the new reduction. So I will show you shortly in CLAS. And finally, on the last weekend, we actually script the automatic recalculation for most of the account-based pensions that have pension reviews done previously. And the criteria for the automatic fix are only one pension review was created for 2019 and 20 financial year with the review end date as 30 June 2020. The pension type is account-based pension, including TRIS. And the existing pension review amount is equal to the minimum based on the old rates. And finally, there's no PAYG saved in the pension review previously. Now I'm going to move into CLAS application and quickly show you how you actually update pension review should you do one manually yourself. So here's a COVID-19 fund I created. It's a 2-member fund, being a dad and a daughter. Dad is currently in retirement phase receiving account-based pension, and the daughter is in full accumulation phase. Now, the easiest way to access is click members, browse pension reviews. Okay, this is Dad's current account-based pension. He's got about $1.22 million. Let's open up the pension review. This member's just over 66, so he will be, the original band percentage will be 6%, so the calculation will be this amount. And all you need to do is basically, if you want to take into account the new percentage, click calculate, and that should reduce the percentage to be 2.5, and click save. And that's all you need to do in class to reflect that. But the good thing is, for majority who had this situation previously, class had a script fixed for those pension account automatically. All right, let's go back to my slides. Okay. More hints and tips on pension minimum. So obviously, some of the pension accounts where you had created transition rules previously, especially for any users using a proportional method. Proportional method is where they want to allocate the pension drawdowns proportionally across multiple pension accounts and across multiple members. So, and if that's the situation, you should review those transaction rules. Secondly, for any account-based pensions where class has not updated the minimum for you, and non-account-based pensions, it's good to review the pension reviews for those pension accounts. Finally, this is actually a great opportunity for your clients where you can potentially provide some value-added services. So I just break down some of the client scenarios into typical types and suggest some of the ideas around providing additional advice. For TRIS clients, for example, the easiest way is probably stop the pension payments if they already exceed the minimum. But there are exceptions to that. For example, if you're implementing pension refresh strategy for those clients, or you're doing a pension rebalancing between the members because the funds are lopsided. For retirement phase income stream clients with large amount of accumulation balance, again, any amounts paid after 24th of March, you may consider taking that amount from the accumulation instead of pension. The exception is if the amount is immaterial. For retirement phase income stream with no accumulation balance, then you should consider stop the pension drawdowns and protect the capital value. If the clients still need the money on or after 24th of March, you may consider to process them as a lump sum through partial commutation. And for all the income recipients whose age under age of 65, if amount over above their pension minimum, potentially if they don't need the money, they can recontribute back to the funds, subject to their contribution caps, obviously. But bear in mind, in situations where the fund was deemed segregated, if you're putting back some accumulation balance, then it will trigger the fund no longer being deemed segregated, and there may be tax consequences. Now, the next measure is early release of super benefits for members affected by COVID-19. Again, I will quickly cover through the eligibility and the process. For you to eligible to receive this kind of benefits, so obviously there are criteria you must satisfy. So unemployed or receive job seek benefits or other similar government benefits. And the other one is probably less stringent. This is where members who are on or after 1st January 2020 being made redundant, or their working hours is reduced by 20% or more, or as a sole trader and business owner, their reduction in turnover is 20% or more. And then you are actually eligible to apply this early access of benefits. Now the process is slightly different for members who are part of APRA funds compared to self-managed super funds, but the initial process is the same. So they have to select that, submit the application through MyGov to the ATO. ATO will take roughly about 2 to 3 business days processing this application. They will either approve or reject this application. For APRA funds, if they got approved, ATO will send notification to those funds automatically, and the fund will initiate the payments. But for self-managed super funds, members who receive the successful determination need to forward that determination to the trustees or the administrators of the self-managed super fund. And the trustees and administrators of self-managed super fund need to process the payment using the new conditional release, which I will show you shortly in class, and document that through a minute and resolution, as well as transfer the money from the bank account of the self-managed super fund to the member's personal bank account. Okay, now what class has done on this measure? So basically, in the most recent April release, we actually implement this new measure. We have a new conditional release called Compassionate Ground dash coronavirus, and you can actually process this using this new condition of release, provided payment date is actually on after 20th of April to 30 June 2020. And just bear in mind, this is only one payment per financial year. For 2021 financial year, the application date, not the payment date, the application date is only available from 1st July 2020 to 24th September 2020, being the 6 months after the bill or the act received the royal assent. So the payment is using proportional rule. There's no PAYG required. It's the whole amount is treated as a net income, non-assessable, non-exempt, or tax-free income. We have put some validation in place to prevent people to process multiple payments using same condition release for a member, and the amount cannot exceed more than $10,000. We have user guide page, knowledge base article created to how to process this, and also we create a very comprehensive FAQ on this early release as well. For the 2020 self-administered annual return reporting, so if you do process that payments, it is obviously a lump sum payment, and the payment code is FF, basically for other lump sum payments such as compassionate ground payments. Now, quickly going to show you how you actually do that in class. Okay, I'll close this. Now, the second member, Marin Zelda, she's unfortunately affected by this COVID-19, and she wants to apply for these benefits. So to process this, now, provided the trustee received the successful determination from ATO, and now you're processing the member payments. And select roll of a lump sum payment. Select the member. I'm just using today's date, so T for today. She's got $40,000. And condition release is the new one, Compassionate Ground Coronavirus. Then you go to payment details. So the maximum you are eligible to receive the payment is $10,000. Let's just put $10,000 here. And it's taking out from the preserved component. It's using proportional rule to calculate the tax-free and taxable component. Submit that. Now, you get a warning about running period update when you do a lump sum. Given she's got enough money to make the payments, it's only a warning. You can proceed. Basic details. Sorry, I forgot to type in COVID-19. Okay. Now, once the payment is processed, you can produce the lump sum minute and resolutions. And obviously, when you try to bring PAYG, it will be blank. It's not applicable. Okay. Subsequent event notes. Now, we receive a lot of requests on this area. So the reason is the COVID-19 impact has been identified as a non-adjusting event for the financial year ended 30 June 2019. 30 June 2019, that's right. However, the best way to disclose that as potential impact on the stock market or market value of the fund investment post 30 June 2019 is through the subsequent event note. And we actually checked the auditing standards that govern the audit of self-managed super fund, as well as the subsequent events. That's all recommended practice to actually disclose such information through subsequent event notes. So we'll quickly show you how you do that in class. Other reports are potentially impacted by this is audit representation letter, if some of the clients are using this documentation. Currently, the workaround is print to RTA, fix that paragraph to do with subsequent event. We'll address that issue in the next release so that you can customize that particular content related to representation letter. Self municipal fund auditors report, again, there's a lot of requests for clients want to draw attention on the emphasis of matter paragraph. Again, at the moment, you can't customize that. We will fix that in the next release. So this is what we have done. So we're fixing the numbering issue to do with subsequent event. So it should be displaying sequential order in most cases. We have created a knowledge-based article on the preferred or customized content for that note. You can potentially utilize the content in that knowledge-based article. And as I suggest, we're going to fix those two issues. One's related to order representation letter, and the other one is order report. So quickly, I'm going to show you in class how you do a subsequent event note. Okay. So the best way to access it is to go to business level and go to report, maintain report package. Now, the first thing I recommend clients to do is you can actually update the subsequent event note through the report pack or reporting defaults. I always recommend it to update the report pack rather than the reporting defaults. The reason being is the subsequent event note, if we do update in the reporting default, then it will potentially change for all financial statements across different financial years, as well as those ones you already finalized for 2019 prior to this, the coronavirus outbreak, roughly around March this year. So, and obviously you probably don't want those financials to be changed. So its best way is actually do that change in the report pack. Now, the first thing I would do is actually clone this report pack so that you will have one report pack for the funds that you already done for the 19 financial year without that subsequent event note. Then the second pack will have this subsequent event note. So just call that and save that. Okay. Now, to change the subsequent event note, what you need to do is go to reports. So in my financial report pack, I have cover page, operating statement, statement financial position, notes to the financial statements. Obviously, you can include more different type of reports for the financial statement report pack. I'm just using this as an illustration purposes. Now you click notes to the financial statements, and this is where you change subsequent event note. Now we have an article already created here. Let me just find. So this is the FAQ I explained previously. Let me just find. Okay, this is the event note. So we have some default text you want to use. This is a detailed one. This is a concise one. If I want to use this note, so what you need to do is copy this, paste into Word. Now I'll change the format to be Arial. So that's the format class use as default for financial statements. And the size, make a non-italic, and size is 9, font size. The reason is once I do that, I can easily just copy and paste into that note in class report pack. And paste. Oh, I'll paste it twice. Okay, and click OK. Then click Save. Now, if you run this report pack, let me see if I got the funds. Okay, run this. Okay, let me select the fund, Welsh. Obviously, with report pack, the beauty of that is you can potentially do that for a single fund or multiple funds. Okay, run this report. Now, once it's running, you can download this report and have a look at the notes. Okay, while it's running, yeah, it's successful. Click download. And I'll quickly show you the report back and the notes. So this is the financial statements, and you have your subsequent event notes. Okay, let's go back to my presentation. Okay, this is the second poll question I want to launch. This is to do with which of the following channels have you used recently to grasp an understanding of COVID-19 related changes? Option 1 is using government resources such as ATO website, Treasury sites, or the Parliament for the actual copy of the legislation or fact sheets. Option 2, attending webinars run by educational training providers or professional bodies. Option 3, you mainly get the information from your friends or colleagues. 4, news, including industry news as well as social media. Finally, use class channels such as the support, help center, release notes, and education webinars such as this one. I'll give everyone a few seconds to answer this question. Thank you kindly for your answer. Let's see the results. Okay, it's good that majority get the information through the government source as well as industry professional bodies. Okay, the last part of my presentation is on other COVID-19 related issues that impact self-managed super fund. So I'll just go through this in bullet forms. The first part is a good piece of good news from ATO. So ATO has finally succumbed to the lobbying pressures from the different professional bodies such as self-managed super fund associations, chartered accountants, Australia, New Zealand, CPA, who basically, due to the impact of COVID-19 on tax agents and accounting public practice, so ATO has automatically applied a deferral for the lodgement of the 2019 self-managed super fund annual return to 30 June. So you don't need to actually apply this anymore. There are also a bunch of other reliefs ATO has kind of suggested in their frequently asked questions, as well as through the industry news. So I will briefly go through each one in details. So related party limited recourse borrowing arrangement relief. So basically ATO has suggested that they will not take compliance measures on those related party loans, provided those loans basically ask for deferment, which using similar terms as commercial banks. Some of the two key points was that the temporary loan repayment deferral cannot exceeding 6 months. Secondly, although the loan repayment is deferred, but unpaid interest is still being capitalized on the loan. The other one is probably more popular, is the rental relief. So again, it's in the context of related party rental arrangement for commercial properties, obviously. So ATO will not take any compliance actions where self-managed super fund provide a tenant who is a related party a temporary rent reduction, rent deferral, or rent waiver for the 2019 to 20 and 20 to 21 financial years. However, if it's non-related party tenant, so such as residential properties, then you need to document the relief arrangements and provide commercial justification with clear reasoning why such arrangement is the best interest of self-managed super fund for the purpose of providing retirement benefits for the members. So the example I can think of, for example, in New South Wales, there is relief for land tax, and if you reduce the rental by the amount of waiver of land tax from New South Wales government, then you need to document that through amendments and resolutions as well as lease agreements. 5% in-house asset relief. So this measure relates to funds with in-house assets. If they're non-in-house assets or other assets, their market value has dropped significantly as a result of COVID-19. at least for the 2019-20 financial year and 2021, ATO will not take compliance measures against for temporary exceeding that 5% threshold. Self-administered residency issue. So this is in relation to the central management and control of self-administered fund. If the trustees and members actually been overseas temporarily for up to 2 years, and they're about to return back to Australia, but they couldn't do that because of the COVID-19, they were stranded. So ATO will give lenience on that treatment. And finally, and this one is probably well covered in the media. So ASIC has basically grants limited recourse, limited financial FSL licensing exemptions for tax agents who are providing financial advice related to the access of COVID-19 payments. Now, this concludes the formal part of my presentation on COVID-19 and the Help Center launch. For everyone who has to leave now due to other work commitment, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your kind intentions and wish you and your loved ones stay safe and well. Now we're going to move into the live Q&A session. Both Natalie and myself will answer some questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, so I've had a look at the Q&A for my side, and it looks as though I answered everyone's questions in my presentation, which is great. So I don't know if there's any questions that anyone has in real time that they want to ask me. I'll have a look and see if anyone's put their hand up. If anyone has, looks like it might be over to you, Kevin. I'll double check and see if there's any questions that are outstanding for you as well.
Okay, let me quickly have a look. I do have a couple. One question is, with the new early access of super benefits, does that apply to pensions or account-based pensions? So the simple or short answer to that question is no. So this early access of super benefits predominantly related to preserved benefit and restrict non-preserved benefits. So if you only have unrestricted non-preserved, then this measure does not apply. But obviously, given the members has satisfied the conditional release with new cash restrictions, they can take whatever the money they need for on the super, whether through the form of income stream or lump sum payments. So what about the second question? Similar. What about TRIS? Okay, TRIS is a bit interesting because the legislation currently does not actually impact on how TRIS payments work. TRIS, although they may have preserved and restrict non-preserved, they're still following the existing rules and cash restrictions making the payments. But having said that, and the other thing is from 1st July 2017, you no longer can take lump sum payments from TRIS accounts anymore. So, but the only way you want to get access that is commute TRIS back to accumulation. Then you can apply that conditional release to access the money.
So there's a couple of other questions. So has class provided any minutes for the reduction in pension arrangements? So
so the best minute that you can use is the pension review minute. So if you have get clients sign off the pension review minute previously prior to this this legislation, I think it's a good opportunity to rerun the pension review minute and get clients to sign off, so they are aware of that the new minimum. Obviously, it's not a crime or it's not a problem that if you take more than the minimum, but for some of the pension accounts want to protect the capital values of their pension accounts and they don't need the money, then it's a good opportunity to tell them potentially to stop the payment. And if they do need the money on or after 24th of March, then potentially can consider to do commutation or partial commutation, and to claw back some of the TBAR credits, so allow them to start another pension later down the track.
Okay. And then another question is it possible to have different investment strategies input in class for a single fund? Members may have different risk profiles.
So ATO did mention that it's a good idea to review your investment strategies because of the COVID-19 impact on the stock market and effectively the assets of the accounts of the fund. But where you need to make decisions to shift some of the assets from more risky to risk averse, such as fixed interest products, and then you need to document that there's no issues with temporary changing your investment strategy. It's actually encouraged, but because people, self-managed fund, in my view, it's one of very flexible vehicle where talking about experience during GFC is the first one that they can potentially shift a lot of risky investments to more risk-averse investments to protect their values. So whether you create, at the moment, I think class quite limited. It's not limited. It's not possible to create separate strategy for different members' profile, and that's on the roadmap to be addressed down the track.
Okay, and then we've got another question. So I think we've got two more. So regarding the reduced minimum pension, there was a view that was taken that the pension drawdown pre-March 2020 should stay pension rather than lump sum. How will class cope with it?
I agree with Heffron's opinion on this, and it's consistent with class with the ATO's questions on this as well. Our view is that so if the payment's already being made and the time of making it is in a pension sense, then it should treat as income. Now, if there are specialized pension docs where it says if the amount already exceeded the minimum, then the trustees are at the liberty to treat that excess as a lump sum payments. Now, I think this is only operational if the payments actually happen on or after 24th March when the bill received the royal assent. So subsequent to that date, then any additional payments potentially you can treat as a lump sum payment. But if you do through a partial commutation, obviously there's obligation to lodge the TBAR accordingly.
Okay, awesome. And I think that's pretty much all the questions relating to COVID-19 that I've seen on the screen. So there was just one more question, just when the recording and the slides will be available. So we will try and make these available sooner than later, because I do know that there was a limitation to only having 100 attendees, and there were 800 that should have attended today. So we will try and get this up as soon as possible. We'll send you an email out with the questions and answers, a copy of the slides, and we will also be loading this webinar straight onto our education page and publish it there for you to have a look at. So thank you so much for everyone attending today. And thank you so much, Kevin, for answering all of those questions.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
So this brings an end to our webinar today. So we will be in touch soon. Thank you so much.